These are my favorite videos to watch. I have wasted hours watching cinema rig walkthroughs. Hopefully you're willing to waste a couple minutes with me today, because I wanted to talk about all the different ways I like to build out this guy. This is my trusty Canon C200. It checks all the boxes that I needed to check. It's got a great image. I got a great deal on it. You can buy these used for less than half of their original price. I think I got mine with 2 extra batteries and all the original kit for 2,500 bucks, which is an awesome deal. It shoots raw, the colors are great. Maybe I'll do a review in the future sometime, but in short, I really love this thing. If I can help it, I'm not going to build out this camera any more than it needs to be. There's the original top handle and monitor. I'll just put that on there. I'll use one of the original Canon BP batteries that go right here in the back. And ergonomically, it's great. The batteries last a long time, and it's really nice and comfortable to handheld. That's what I'm doing a majority of the time. If I can help it, I will not build this thing out. But every once in a while, maybe you're on a bigger shoot, maybe you need extra juice for the camera, you don't want to change your battery out often, maybe you need a bigger monitor, maybe you just want to look extra cool. All totally valid things. In that case, I will sometimes build this out. The heart of my rig is the base plate, of course. This is a Kessler K-plate. I really love this thing. It's super heavy and it's got 15mm rail slots. What I really love is these 4 little rubber feet so that when you place your whole rig down, it sits flat. It's not gonna teeter all over the place. I've had rigs in the past where you can only place them down sideways because they'll tip over every time. And there's even an integrated Arca Swiss plate at the bottom. So we'll go ahead and install this on the bottom of the C200. We'll just line these up and we'll go about there. Okay, so this is what we got so far. And it'll sit down nice and it's super sturdy like that. So the main reason why I'm usually using this specific rig setup is to add extra weight. The easiest way to do that is with a gigantic battery on the back. This is a Watson Pro 158 watt hour. I've used a lot of V-mounts in my career, and V-mounts are amazing, but if you don't have a super tight adapter and battery, they can kind of wiggle around. I've even had some cases where I'll have my camera braced up and my shoulder will pop a battery out of place. I decided for this rig, I was gonna try gold mount, and I absolutely love it. I mean, this thing, like, it's not gonna move anywhere. So we need to get this onto the back of this rig here. Condor Blue makes this gold mount plate. It's great, it does its job well. I'm gonna take 2 15mm rails. These are aluminum. I don't know who makes these, probably Tilta. And they are 12 inches. Just like that. Make sure that's really nice and tight. So now I'm gonna thread these 2 15mm rails through the bottom of the K-plate. And we're gonna kind of pick a spot that we like here. And then to tighten these down, we'll have to go to the bottom here. The only thing about the K-plate I could see people not really liking is that there is no quick release, no NATO rails, nothing like that. Right now I am tightening down everything so that it's gonna be rock solid and not clank around, but once everything's tightened, it's fairly permanent. This could be a downside depending on who you are, what you're looking for. For my specific needs, it's actually kind of a pro because I want to rig up my camera in the beginning of the day, have it set up, arrive on set with it, and not worry about the rig ever again. I don't even want to think about it a second time. I want to show up with a gigantic battery that I think this battery will charge this camera for like 8 hours or something stupid. So I won't have to touch the battery, I won't have to touch any of the rigging, I won't have to adjust anything. Everything is rock solid. It's almost like it's part of the camera. And there we are. So this is pretty cool. It's really tight on the actual camera, which I love. I hate it when they're way back and leaning forward. And the cool thing about this Condor blue plate is that it can articulate back a little bit. If I need to get in here and grab some audio dials or switch a card out or whatever, I can do that, but most of the time it's sitting flush like that. There's these little bolts in here that you can tighten to loosen or tighten the tension. But here we are. That's looking pretty good. I am going to put in the factory top handle, which I actually really love. I know some people do aftermarket top handles. I think this one is totally fine. So I'm gonna install that bolt. And then I'm going to plug in video feed for the stock monitor. And what I like to do is swing this guy out to the side a little bit. And we'll make sure that this is out of the way. We are going to add an external monitor. I won't always do this, but this is the way I would do it if I decided I needed to. There we go. Okay, so I just have a NATO rail here. And funny enough, it's the wrong size. There are little, here, can you see that over there? Yeah. 2 little 1/4-20 holes here. I thought I had the right size NATO rail that would span both of these. It only fits one. Maybe one day I'll find one that fits both. And that's nice and tight. Monitors are another thing that tend to bother me when I see like a magic arm that's like 3 feet tall and somebody will just put it right here and the monitor's all the way up here. Okay, so we have a magic arm here. This one's from Small Rig. I also have Tilta magic arms. They're all usable, all great. Probably near the top. And then I'll tighten that down. Now, ideally, we'd be using a 7-inch monitor here. I don't have one, but I do have the good old Atomos Ninja 5, which does its job well. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this. I also think a longer magic arm would do me well, because this thing only pops up to about here, which is pretty clean looking, but I wish it was just a little bit higher. Okay, so we got our monitors. The last cool thing that we're gonna add, I think my favorite filter at the moment, can be kind of fickle with filters. This is a black satin 1/4, I think. Go ahead and thread that on. And then I'm actually going to thread something else on there, which is a 95mm adapter for my matte box, which is the Tilta Mirage. I love the Mirage system. This variable ND is awesome. And oh my gosh, a ladybug. I don't have any of the filters that I want for this guy. I would love to have the 1/4 black satin on the front, square filter here, and then maybe a circular polarizer in the main slot. But you better believe I'm gonna use this thing anyway, because it looks sick. Go ahead and tighten that down. I mean, come on. That looks dope. Okay, so now for my least favorite part, which is all of the cabling. So I have a D-tap to AC power for the C200. We'll go ahead and plug that guy in. And there we go. And that's nice and tight. And then we're gonna need to add this Atomos battery eliminator. That'll go right there in the MPF slot. And then we can do DC to, there's a D-tap back here. Nice and tight. Last thing we need is an HDMI. This is the hilarious part. I don't have an HDMI that fits long enough, so this is from my Apple TV. Installed in the in of the monitor, and then I guess I'm gonna wrap this around the top handle 530 times. Ideally, this cord would be just long enough to reach without having to coil it around anything. Plug that into HDMI right there. So hey, that's not too bad. Can power everything on if we want. Maybe one day I'll add a follow focus. I don't have one right now. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I like to run the stock monitor with all my settings. I have a waveform on it. This top monitor, I'm running a clean feed so that I can focus on only composition. I don't want to see any settings. I don't even want to see peaking. I just want to see what my shot looks like here. And then this is where all my assist features live. There's my fully built out Canon C200 cinema rig. The handheld sort of fluid movement out of a setup this heavy is spectacular. It looks great. This battery should power the monitor and the camera for hopefully an entire day's worth of shooting. And I have the Canon BP batteries in here still, so that there's a little bit of power redundancy, but yeah. Thanks for stopping by, guys. That was fun. I'll see you next time.